Are we live on the YouTubes? Um, my hair's not bad. What is up, YouTubes? I am Gary V, documenting I'm calling my death grind. So started a new company, and I'm just gonna move the mic closer. Decided that for 2 years of my life, I was gonna grind as hard as humanly possible. I'm not a hard worker. But there's a big difference between grinding nonstop all the time, no sleep, um, and then working 12-hour days, right? Because there's just there's a lot of excuse the French, useless shit you do in 12 hours, man. You go watch TV, hang out with friends, um, take time off, need to relax. So no days off for 2 years is what I decided about 6 weeks ago. So this is my 6th week in. So next week I'll have 97 weeks left of this. So basically I'm just going all in. I'm doing polyphasic sleeping right now. So what that means is I'm just basically, I have my core sleep. I sleep anywhere from 2 to 4 hours on average a night. I take naps as needed, although I try not to. Yesterday it was an extremely rough day. Probably got 5 hours of sleep, which was above average. And I don't know. It was a rough day. I think I actually listened to some death metal, like angry music, because I have uh, things are evolving constantly in my head. But I thought, I have this mentality. I say a lot of things like pivot, move the needle, like just things I say in my head. I also say lean into. So sometimes you get some weird energy. Sometimes you got to use that energy. I'm just going to turn up my mic volume. Is that good? Sometimes you just got to use that weird energy. So I was like feeling a little aggression. So lean into that, right? And big mistake. Just because I think, especially when you wake up early in the morning, some of the early things you do definitely dictate the rest of your day. And honestly, I think that just kind of set the tone. I don't know why I was feeling angry. Nothing bad happened in particular, but it was a shit show of a day. If anything could have gone wrong, it definitely did. And but I mean, I was super tired too, because I was like, I slept longer than I've slept in a while, and I was still really tired. I don't know what was going on last night. I think I went to bed at 10, woke up at 12:30. So I got 2.5 hours of sleep. And I mean, I feel great right now. It's 3 a.m. So I've been awake for 2.5 hours. I have a super busy day. My wife made me promise that I'd come home and take a nap before my first appointments. But honestly, I don't know if I have time, because I got a bunch of shit I need to do between now and my first appointment, which starts at 9 a.m. So yeah, I'm just doing a little bit of everything right now. I'm doing it all, living my best life. So I've been in real estate for a while now. Always fancied myself an entrepreneur. And let me just say to those of you who are a real estate agent out there, hopefully you're a nice, ethical person, but you're great. You do put in a lot of hard work. But there's a big difference between just being a, quote, real estate agent and being an entrepreneur. There's a big difference between being a real estate agent and running a real estate business. And you see a lot of the bigger people, who brand intelligently, and go through different cities and stuff. They're business owners, they're entrepreneurs, they're operating a business within the confines of real estate, which I always was, right? I was solo, I had a team, I did that kind of stuff in real estate. But to me, I'm going off on tangents here and I'm just rambling, but this is good for me. This is my therapy session. But, I never really understood before how restricting the confines of normal real estate was, just working under a broker, even though they don't really do anything, um, not having full control 100% of your business and your company, sticking to a model that everyone else is doing, doing the same stuff everyone else is doing, making it really dry, really boring, not being yourself. Um, yeah, it was just awful, if I'm being honest with myself. I could never go back to old ways of doing real estate at this point in my life. I just couldn't. This is too good. This is too fun. I've been having so much fun doing what I'm doing. I'm putting in a lot of long hours. I definitely miss my family. It's kind of a bummer, but I hope they're understanding, because part of this is their future. We're going to be fine no matter what happens. I'm a hard worker. I'm an intelligent guy. I'll always find a way to support my family, even if it means scrubbing toilets. I will do what I have to do for my family always. But part of this, my mentality right now is, how am I going to raise good kids and tell them that they can do anything they want to do if I don't chase down my dreams? I'm not. I can't. I won't. My daughter or my son is like, hey man, I want to be an astronaut. I want to go to the moon. And I'm going to be like, whatever you want to do. And then, oh, but dad, why didn't you chase down your dreams? Oh, well, X, Y, and Z, right? Lead by example. They're not going to believe me. They're not going to believe anything is possible. So if I want to raise some good ass humans in this world that do some incredible stuff, whether it be art, whether it be in the creative space, whether it be the technology space, medical space, what if they create some sort of invention, whatever it is, I want to be highly supportive of their passions, their dreams, and their goals. And I definitely need to lead by example. And, hopefully we can all look back on this someday with my kids, and, they'll see the work their father put in chasing down his dreams, and it will give them hope to chase down their dreams. So, yeah, I'm just kind of rambling with some thoughts right now. I realized, like I was saying, work environment is everything, especially when you operate at a really high pace. I'm not going to say high level. I don't know if I'm a high level guy. Other people might say that, but fast pace is important. So having a really comfortable work atmosphere, controlling the atmosphere, controlling the environment, controlling who's around, controlling the attitudes, controlling the camaraderie, the teamwork, everything is vitally important to move at a vicious pace, because stuff gets crazy and you have to operate really fast. Another thing, I've been rereading the book Principles by Ray Dalio. If you don't know Ray Dalio, look at Ray Dalio. He's a hedge fund manager. He built Bridgewater and Associates. Bridgewater, I don't know, but Bridgewater, basically out of his basement, and it's a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund. So he wrote a book just basically about some principles he lives his life off of and directs his company by. And I'm rereading it for, I don't know, the third or fourth time. It's just, there's so much good stuff in that book. And, a couple things that are helping me operate at a quick pace is what he calls an honesty and truth, honesty and transparency meritocracy, which is basically that there are no secrets, and there is nothing to hide. And if you operate by that in business and in your personal life, you can move at a very fast pace. Because I'm sure, we can all think back to a time we've told a lie and then it got brought up in conversation. And then you think, what did I tell this person, or how do I have to act? So when you operate entirely transparently, entirely honestly, you don't have to think about those things. You just operate and you just say what the truth is. And it actually works out very well because, now if you have issues with someone, now if you have issues with employees, maybe employees aren't, what if there's an issue about, money you're making and stuff like that. If you're just really transparent about everything, you just kind of nip all that stuff in the butt. So Ray Dalio, principles, honesty and transparency, meritocracy. The other thing I've been doing lately that I've noticed to be working very well for myself is, again, it is highly, vitally important to me that I operate at a quick pace. So another thing is constantly saying what I'm thinking. So I will say, I know a lot of people might not think this, if they were to see me in public or, do, talk in front of people. I've given speeches to crowds of people before, but I'm an introvert. I know that about myself. And I think a lot of that is, I'm really introspective. I think constantly about myself. I'm my biggest critic. I think we can all say that. But one thing I noticed, good or bad, I don't know, is that, sometimes when I would go to social functions, like most people, I'd want to have a drink, loosen up, and then I get a little chatty. And then I started thinking to myself, I was like, why do I need alcohol to do that? And, obviously it's to feel more relaxed. But what it actually did, I found, is that it allowed me to just say what I'm thinking and not be introspective. Introspective is good. It is great. It has its time and it has its place for sure. But, especially when you communicate, you operate with people, I'm doing a lot of stuff, but a good majority of my job right now is to effectively communicate with people. And I can't do that if I'm thinking inside my head because, although it is important to think before you speak and not say something that you're going to regret, it is important to operate in honesty and say, what it is you're thinking in a positive and nice way and walk away with something good from it. So, what I've just been doing is anytime, I'm around people, I just don't think in my head. I just say what I'm thinking. I say the first thing that comes to mind. And I think it tends to work out really well. The caveats being you can't be an asshole who's racist and say, oh, X, Y, and Z, right? Because it's just not going to work. So you have to be a nice person for this to actually work. Not saying I am, but maybe. So yeah, just, don't let myself be introspective around other people. Just say what I'm thinking, just be myself constantly. And it allows you to operate at such a fast and concise pace. I don't know why I haven't thought of this earlier. What else? Legal pads are awesome. That's another thing. So I do love tech. I'm an efficiency junkie. If I can do something with tech to make me more efficient, I'm all for it. However, you can't beat a good piece of paper and pen. So typically what I do is every day, I'll use a legal pad. I'll date the whole thing, I'll go like October. And then, at the top of it, 10/8, I'll take all my notes. And I just don't throw these pads away. So I make sure at the end of the day, all the important notes I've taken, I keep them. But for quick reference, sometimes you're going to be like, oh man, we had that conversation on, when was it, last week? And we were talking about poodles, right? We're going to do this thing with poodles. Not saying we are, but maybe someday. So you go and you look back through your notes, you find last week, skim it, poodles, got it, got that idea, didn't lose it. So, yeah, legal pads are awesome. Keeping track of stuff is awesome. Efficiency is everything, especially when you want to move at a really rapid pace, because it's not only just constantly grinding. You can't just work, 1,000 hours and expect it to pay off. You have to constantly reevaluate the pace at which you're working at and how to further push the envelope. It's just like tying your shoe. If you don't get better at tying your shoe, it's going to take you forever. I'm sure we all remember, maybe there's some of you out there who don't know how to tie a shoe. Sorry. But, it's like when you're a kid, you're learning how to tie your shoes, you're fumbling around, and inherently you're going to get better at that, which is good, right? Now it takes me 1 second to tie my shoe or whatever it may be. But if you didn't get better at that and you're constantly fumbling around, you're probably just going to be like, oh, I can't wear the shoe anymore. I need to, go fucking Velcro. Sorry for the language, but fuck, who cares? I'm me. So basically what I'm trying to say is that you can't just work hard and expect things to pan out. There is there's a cap always, right? You're the hardest working person in the room. That's great. But if you don't get better, if you don't hone your skills, if you don't get more efficient, whatever the subject matter may be as it pertains to pushing the envelope forward, you're not going to do anything with it. I mean, if you're an athlete and you're the hardest working athlete in the room, that in and of itself is going to put you at a level that a lot of people can't keep up with. But if you want to be the best ever to do it, you're going to have to focus on skills. Just because you're the hardest working person in the room, what if you run yourself into the ground and, now you got shin splints? What if you decide to lift for 4 hours a day? Now you got shoulder issues, and you're supposed to throw a football. Now you can't throw a football because you're working out too much, right? So it's not just about hard work. It's about effective work, and it's about smart work. Hard work in and of itself cannot take you to certain levels. It will take you to some levels, but it can't take you to all the levels, especially when you want to have a conversation, the best ever, right? GOAT status. I'm not saying I am. Someday, maybe. We'll see. So yeah, these are just some of my thoughts. I'm assuming no one's going to listen to this, but you know what? It's a great fucking therapy session. And we are on week 6 of the old death grind. And yeah, if my baby's in the future is watching this, I love you. Daddy loves you. It's 3 a.m. I fell asleep in your bed. Woke up tonight. Miss you guys. Love you. Deuces.